This is a review of Zeotrex from Global Healing Center. Now, Zeotrex is billed as something that can help cleanse your body of both chemicals and toxic metals. I think some of the philosophy that went into making this product was that it's not just one thing that makes the product work, it's a combination of things that work together and help draw out toxins from your body, in theory. The first thing you see on the ingredient list is volcanic zeolites, and I couldn't find a whole lot of good research that supports these being used to detox your body. There's a little bit, but I think zeolites have been something that have been mainly ignored as far as human health is concerned. There's a lot of good evidence, I think, that they work very well for things like industrial cleanup, and there's also research on their use in veterinary medicine. Interestingly, in the Journal of Molecular Medicine out of Berlin, there's an article titled Natural Zeolite Clinoptilolite, I don't know how to pronounce that word, New Adjuvant in Anti-Cancer Therapy. And it mentions offhand that natural silicate materials, including zeolite, have been shown to exhibit diverse biological activities and been used successfully as a vaccine adjuvant and for the treatment of diarrhea. So I think that's really interesting that they can be used in vaccines. I don't know what kind of clinoptilolites were used in this study, but it mentions that they were used to treat cancer in mice and dogs. They cause the size of tumors to decrease. They use local application of them to skin cancer on dogs, and this reduced the size of the tumors. And it mentions that in the toxicology studies on mice and rats, this treatment doesn't have negative effects. Now, I don't know if this is the same kind of clinoptilolites that are in Zeotrex, but I'm guessing that there is some sort of basic mechanism at work here. I looked at another study that examined the use of zeolites in detoxifying from PFCs, or perfluorinated compounds. In other words, stuff that you find in carpets and cookware, in some clothing, like water-resistant clothing, stuff like that. This study showed that zeolites don't really help much with eliminating PFCs, but Global Healing Center doesn't claim that zeolites help with that, but I thought it was interesting. There is something called cholestyramine that supposedly does help somewhat with eliminating PFCs. There are a couple of ingredients in here that you might not normally associate with detoxifying heavy metals, but it has organic cilantro and parsley. And there are a few studies that possibly show that cilantro can help with eliminating things like mercury. I think there need to be more studies done on this. There's one article titled Cilantro, Chlorella, and Heavy Metals by John Millett, and it talks about how there really needs to be more evidence that shows that cilantro and chlorella remove heavy metals. And this guy isn't some mainstream doctor. He's a herbalist, nutritionist, and classical homeopath. In the last paragraph of his article, he says, some practitioners swear by cilantro and chlorella for aiding heavy metal excretion and are skeptical of orthodox methods aimed at measuring their efficacy. We cannot disregard the clinical observations of these practitioners, for it is upon clinical observations accrued over time that herbal medicine is largely based. However, even if their observations can truly measure heavy metal status, those observations are still in their infancy, and the biochemical claims from which they draw strength are scientifically unsound. Until these claims are scientifically validated, or until enough time has passed for credible clinical assessments to amass a compelling body of evidence, the efficacy of cilantro and chlorella in promoting heavy metal excretion from body tissues remains an quote-unquote urban legend. Urban spelled Herban. This article was from about 2005, and from what I've seen, there's not a lot of research since then on this. I think some of the reasoning that goes into the use of parsley as a heavy metal reducer is because of a study that showed that Chinese parsley can reduce heavy metal concentrations in trout. So I'm not sure if that carries over to humans, but I won't go over all the ingredients, but Zeotrex also has fulvic acid, which is pretty widely known to help with digestion and nutrient assimilation. I noticed that shilajit is the last ingredient, and I'm guessing there must be just a tiny bit of that in Zeotrex since it's the last ingredient. I think there's a lot of good evidence to suggest that shilajit is pretty good for you. I'm surprised that there's not more of it, although I have no idea how much of these ingredients there are in Zeotrex, other than iodine, which it clearly says it has 400 micrograms of it. Iodine is one of those things that's good for your entire body, not just your thyroid. And I think many people who start taking iodine will experience detox symptoms because it pushes out other halogens. As far as my experience with Zeotrex, I remember very clearly the first time I took it, I had basically sort of low-level cold/flu symptoms for maybe about 12 hours. And I was pretty surprised. I didn't expect to really experience anything. So, and I'm pretty sure I didn't have cold or flu that weekend. Subsequently, as I've taken it quite a lot since then, I haven't really experienced that again. Oh, and one more interesting ingredient is stinging nettle, and I found one scientific article titled "Lipophilic Stinging Nettle Extracts Possess Anti-Inflammatory Activity, Are Not Cytotoxic, and May be Superior to Traditional Tinctures for Treating Inflammatory Disorders." So, hypothetically, stinging nettle could help with something like arthritis. Apparently, the stinging nettle has to be extracted in a fairly specific way for it to work properly. I would hope that Dr. Group has seen to this. So overall, this product seems like a really good idea. I don't think that all the hard science is there, but I can't deny the fact that I had these detox symptoms when I took it, and I wasn't really expecting that. So I think something good happened. This product is pretty expensive, so that might kind of throw some people off. That's understandable. I think it's something that's worth trying at least once. It's definitely, well, I don't want to say definitely, but I don't see why or how it could hurt to try. I think this would definitely be a good thing to try if you're one of these people that has mysterious health symptoms and you can't figure out what's wrong with you. And chances are, I think when that's happening, there's probably something in your body that's messing you up, and it would stand to reason that you need to get that out of your body. So trying something like this probably couldn't hurt. Thanks for listening.